going back to your opinion, Japanese very much follow on manual base, right?
Right.
But this is still I don't understand well. Even if we written, I just consulting for the company, written manual, but Japanese company never follow on that because salesperson is very much concerned by customer by customer.
Right.
They try to much more flexible,
But-
treatment for them.
So this is the difference when we are talking about negotiation. So basically, when the customer expresses, we work till 5, then or till 7 or till 8 till 9. They say, "Hi, we will follow that." Hi, we just follow the customer. What we try to do is manage a customer.
Europe.
We manage a customer. That means that if the customer, for example, I want this, I want that, I want that, we will say, you may want that, but first of all, it's not in our contract, so it's going to cost extra. That's number one. Number two, it is not in your best interest to want this because in the future you will have extra maintenance. With every upgrade, you will have to invest. You will have to invest more. So instead of saying yes to you, why don't we look at the process and actually change the process a little bit so that it fits within the existing software?
You are recommending standard product is currency?
Yeah, for example. So we are not just saying yes. We try to manage our customer and say, okay, well, please don't say yes to everything because in the long run, saying yes to a customer always will not be in their best interest. So also, of course, we're thinking about ourselves because we don't.
Okay, going back to the original, you are saying that Japanese people follow on manual.
Yeah.
But still, this is not. I don't understand well. Okay, at this aspect of consultant. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to change your business is based on manual. Don't accept the exception. But normal Japanese company doing too much accepting exception from the customer request. This is a problem. That costs 30-40% overhead. This is every company they do that. So I think Japanese people are not they understand manual, okay, but usually they never follow on manual. They just accept the company.
But if you are truly customer oriented, you know that basically that their cost, their overhead is going to be 30-40% because they want to give service to the customer. But is it really in their best interest?
No, this is wrong. But so Japanese people, they should follow the standard manual, no exception. But actually, every company doing business is only exception they're doing.
Yeah, but so they're being told to just okay, when the customer, just follow the customer and just do it. But okay, if I'm asking,
going back to negotiation, and first question is, what's the big difference is between Japanese and Westerners? This is my original question. And European people is they do not follow manual, but they what is background for their salesperson's negotiation skill? Or
okay, so basically the first and foremost is that I believe that the negotiator.
For example, it's manual basis. European people and American people is much emphasized rather than Japanese. My observation, because they are manual oriented. Japanese is not manual oriented. They are too much sophisticated people. They try to consider customer is much more important than manual. Sort of Japanese people,
Right.
Kind of characteristic they have, but European people is no allowance for exception. Just you said, okay, just standard part, standard product, standard delivery, pricing, like this. So no exception.
No, of course, no, that's not true because we will make a lot of exceptions, but they need to pay for it, and we will say, okay, are you sure? So there is a so management is very important. Manage your customer. Make sure that if they want this, then are you sure you want this? And if you want this, then we will need to create a scope document and create a scope exception, and we need to agree on the price, and then we will do it. So step by step. But this is a constant.
I am not sure. European people, they will get lots of training how to sell product
Yeah.
rather than Japanese. Are there?
I don't think so. Well, when we talk about negotiation, that's a skill. But average salesperson, sales training, I think Japanese salespeople are better trained than Europeans.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I know about the old days. People from factories, like for example, the people from Sony, they would go to all the electronic shops at night, educating the staff on the latest products of Sony products, and trying to drive their sales. And people would stay after work, attend these trainings, know everything there is to know about that product, and then try to sell that to the customers. I don't think you will be able to find any salesman in the Netherlands who would be prepared to stay.
My basically, thinking about negotiation for Japanese people against European people, against American people. Usually, Japanese people are very weak to prepare for the condition, like values and
Right.
process and so forth. They're very vague, very vague.
Right.
And because of I don't know, this is a cultural background.
Well, I don't know what. Okay, so basically the way that I see this, that Europeans try to control the process, be in control, and have some kind of context, have some kind of framework against which they can manage the entire process from A to B.
Of course,
to
the
C to
German
D.
and the British, the French people is a big difference. Each of those.
Right. So
Like
in Germany, it's stronger developed than in Italy, for example.
Italy is different.
Italy is more of an art than but
maybe Italy is much more closer to Japanese people attitude. Is it? And German is a big difference between Japan.
well,
from
Italy
Japan.
actually, Italy is very much relationship based. Japan is not.
Not Japan is
No.
very much relationship. Is it?
No, because
No?
basically what is necessary.
Well, Japanese people looking for some person to, for example, he want to buy expensive some vehicle or something, and he try to find out some relationship to figure out who's the most suitable person.
Mm,
So I saw that Italy is more closer to Italy instead of German. German case is they're going to prepare details checklist,
Yep.
and he tried to ask him every small issues and big issues
Yes.
whatsoever.
And they get the list,
Yeah, yeah,
and then they will
yeah.
just knock off every point.
Yeah,
of that
Japanese
list.
people never do that, right?
Right.
I don't know British people, but French people, but I thought Italian people is much more emphasis on.
But on the other hand, Uno-san, actually, for Italians, there will be somebody, the negotiator, will take personal responsibility for what's happening. He will be the guy you need to go to get anything done. He will not turn around and say, okay, let's do this deal. Basically, the negotiator will make the decision. In the Japanese delegation,
Yeah, if you are going
the
to buy
negotiator,
cheap product, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to buy expensive one, very similar to Italy, is it?
do they delegate the negotiation power to the actual negotiator? Is the Japanese negotiator capable of making decisions about price, delivery terms, or does this person just need to? Is this person mainly just conveying what has been prepared in Tokyo, and then say, okay, so that's my task? I believe that the Japanese negotiator is not negotiating. He's just presenting what has been decided in Japan. This is their offer, and if there needs to be a counter proposal, then he will need to go back to Japan and do the entire preparation again and give a new proposal. So this is completely different from Italy. The Italian negotiator will try to make a personal
This
negotiation.
is, I think, we need to more precisely consider for kind of Japanese company. And usually headquarters recently, they try to delegate responsibility to local headquarter people, local people, present to handling the business. But local people, they don't want to take responsibility for negotiation because he does not want to criticize by headquarter. He try to care about his sales performance. So he try to avoid responsibility. It's different from overseas people, Westerners, but I'm not sure. Actually, they can be delegated and scope and span of control. But in many cases, they're not willing to accept span of control to avoid their responsibility.
So that in Europe arena.
You mean the arena mean delegated?
Yes, I mean basically a salesperson would not be it would not be acceptable for any salesperson to not take responsibility for his sales. Are you kidding me?
Same thing happened as Sony subsidiary in Singapore. They said several years ago, I just had an interview with him, and he had fully delegated. So it means company by company this is different. And some company, majority of companies, they try not to accept span of control at local office because they try to avoid some evaluation from headquarters. The performance.
So not you cannot be successful. You can only fail. If that's
not
the
like,
culture that exists.
Not like I think all the habit. I think Japanese company is changing now, but still many cases like you said, right. So they don't accept their responsibility. That's negotiation. He can't make answer because he tried to avoid his responsibility. If he willingly accepts his responsibility, he just decides by himself, right?
Right.
This is obvious. Some company, like I told Sony, they did it by themselves. Local people, they decided not asking the headquarters. The same as Western.
Right.
So my approach, my thinking way is Westerners dealing business for selling business is not so big differences between Japan and Westerners, but I think still they have. My feeling is Japanese is a big difference from German people.
I think it's a huge difference, actually.
Huge difference, but my feeling is very closer to Italian, just you said.
I believe actually.
So I want to hear from you your feeling, your thought.
My thought. Okay, so my thought is actually that there is a huge difference between European negotiators and Japanese negotiations. I feel that European negotiators are.
But wait a minute, but German and British, French, Italy, big difference.
They're also different. Okay, but let's try to look at the commonalities in the European one. So one thing that everybody has in more or less extent is a linear active approach. That means that the cause and effect, which is stronger in Germany than in Italy, admittedly. So there's more attention towards relationship building, wining, dining, getting to know each other, getting to like each other, trusting, respecting each other. That is the start of a good negotiation with an Italian. Whereas in Germany, it's more about framing the problem, analyzing it and then knocking off every point. Carefully preparing the solution before you take action. It's not exactly, but if you compare that, for example, in Japan, I would say that in Japan there is it's much less negotiating. It's much less engaging on a person-to-person basis. It's more the negotiator is a representative of the company, not the person who takes responsibility, which is lethal. It's deadly if you do that when you're negotiating with a European, because Europeans are always being taught to only negotiate with decision makers. If you are not negotiating with the decision makers, this person that's sitting across from the table from you, cannot make any negotiation, leave the table and find the decision maker. Don't waste your time negotiating with somebody who can't make any decisions. So that is a problem. I feel that the way that we are trying to manage the process, trying to frame the problem, trying to create an entire strategy and try to move and influence and manipulate that entire process doesn't exist like this in Japan. Not the whole game is different. Then there is this more of a holistic approach versus the model thinking. So what's inside the minds, what people are thinking when they're thinking about a certain problem, which is very often a very abstract idea. I mean, okay, we can kind of visualize a building with a maquette, with a model, but more abstract things, like for example a software project, is very abstract. So to be on the same page, not only in terms of the process, but also in terms of the product and what exactly it entails, to really get on the same page and understand what we are making and how we're going to make it is extremely difficult when we are negotiating cross-culture.
Now we're talking about like a system development is one example.
Right, yeah.
Example, just I told you, they made a contract very vague, okay? Not precise, not like German style.
Right.
Very vague. So later on, they caused problem.
Right.
And this sort of things happen for Japanese people. But Italian people, for me, looks the same, similar with them.
Right.
Right?
Well, so Italian people are much more easygoing. Like in Germany, 70% of the time is spent in preparation, 30% actually execution. Their execution is good, just like Japan. Once the Germans have finally gone through all the preparation, everything is clear, everything is decided, specified. The software development specifications are clear, the test specifications are clear. Everybody knows what to do. Just follow the manual and just follow through. And they are quite successful.
How about British?
So British and Dutch are, I think we are kind of the same. So what we like to do is we do not 70% preparation, we do 30% preparation. And the remaining 70% we will figure out as we go. So that means, because a lot of people feel, okay, let's get the contract, let's get started, right? So we just follow we just make some extractions. So for example, you put in instead of specifying everything, you basically specify so scope, for example, right? So I wrote a lot of proposals for software development, and in order to shortcut the entire process, every contract always has, okay, so everything that is not in this scope is assumed to be out of scope. So unless it is in this scope, it's in there. Everything that's not in there is out of scope.
Okay, I was just only working with Accenture, so I don't know the ordinary American company, but Accenture was very detailed defining for the scope.
Right.
Very carefully.
Right.
For the Stripe is client, customer. But you said British is different.
I think
Dutch is different.
Right. Yeah, but Americans are more litigious. They are more easy to sue you than
America
British.
America is very easy to sue.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why they will prepare for more detailed planning.
Yeah.
Avoiding sue.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
But Dutch people and British are less litigious, so they
not much suing.
No.